So here in Cloud Axle, our idea is about buying and selling assets at a high frequency. We have something called a high frequency trading. That means that we sell and buy assets in high frequency, at what the name suggests. There's like the long-term trading and there's the short-term. For example, in one day, we could sell and buy around, let's say, 100 or 150 assets. And by assets, I mean anything that has a digital value. Let's say like gold, like crypto, currency, exchange, anything that can be bought and sold on the internet. And for the quotes, like it can be seen in here, this is actually real-time quotes. Real-time quotes and real-time trades being collected using JavaScript with some special sockets. These data are being saved in the backend as an SQL database. We can use this data for, let's say, to improve the model, improve our model. Maybe we can also sell this data to companies that are interested in the upcoming future. I want to mention for the open orders and close orders, they are like empty right now because we are not selling or buying any assets. We are only testing this website right now. But if we actually started selling and buying, we would see them in here. The as much as simple this idea is, but it's much more beneficial because I don't know, around 70 or 80% of, let's say, high frequency trading gives more profit than the long term trading. So yeah, also we are not, let's short-handed to only crypto. I know this website might give like a crypto vibe that we are working with crypto, but we're actually like working with other things as well. So yeah, this is the idea in general. Next step is I'm gonna be moving over to the cloud and how we build the cloud. So yeah, let's move to the next step. Okay, looking at our cloud, I'm gonna say that we covered all of the needed parts, including some extra ones as well, like the Docker, the auto scaling option, the elastic IP addresses. The first thing, we have a VPC, a virtual private cloud that covers everything in here. We have two virtual machines. We have one in zone A and zone B. Since here in Riyadh, there are like only two zones. And zone A has its own virtual switch and zone B has its own virtual switch as well. Both of them are connected to a load balancer, because if, for example, zone A goes down or like something happens to it, all of the traffic is gonna go into the zone B. Also, we have an auto scaling option and an elastic IP addresses. The auto scale option is used if both of the machines are down or like both of them are on heavy load. The auto scaling option is gonna create a new instance and connect this new instance to the load balancer itself here in the outside. And we use the elastic IP addresses. For example, if I want to connect to one of them, I need to go through the load balancer itself or use the option from inside the Alibaba Cloud. But what if I don't want that? Like if I want to SSH to zone B without having to go through the load balancer itself or without having to connect using the Alibaba function. So that's why I give it an elastic IP addresses in order to bypass this load balancer. In terms of the object storage, there's like nothing really special to it, just storage that I can push and pull data from between those virtual machines and the storage. The SQL database, we actually use this in order to store and save the data as seen in the previous part. Because like I have the quotes, I have the trades, I have the let's say for example the maximum trades of the day. All of those data are going to be saved in here. So this is a general look of our cloud, but I'm gonna be going into details for each part of them, and yeah, explain everything that we did. Okay, Starting with the VPC, with the virtual private cloud, I have a general VPC called Cloud Axle. It's my default one. I don't have any other virtual private clouds. It has nothing else special on it. It has two virtual switches. I have one routing table, which is this 192.168.0.0 with a prefix of 16. I have two cloud instances. One is in zone A, one is in zone P. If I move to the visual switch, I can do like way too many things in here, like the access control list, ECS, VPN. But right now, I don't believe it's necessary to do, and it's not required from us to actually do it. So yeah, moving to visual switch, I have the visual switch 1, which is in the 00 zone, and I have the visual switch 2, which is in the 10 zone with a prefix of 24. So yeah, this is like everything about the VPC. Of course, like all of the things I made from the ECS, from the load balancer, from the database, from auto scaling option, everything is going to be under this visual private cloud, just to make things clear. And yeah, okay, moving to our virtual machines. I made two virtual machine. One is in zone B, which is the main one, and one is in zone A as the backup one, like just in case if something happens to zone B, or the virtual machine shut down, or there's like a high load on it, it will switch all of the routes to the secondary one. Both of them have an elastic IP address, just in case if I wanted to connect to it without like having to go through the load balancer itself as a direct way, let's say. Both of them are connected to the same default virtual private cloud. The specification of them, the backup one, as can be seen, has a higher RAM, just like a fail save over, let's say. If I want to manage, like there's some default stuff in here, but I want to say what we did in order to create the backup one, which is a really good thing to do always. You go to the create a custom image. Like if I want to copy everything that I have on the main cloud and I want to move it to the backup one, I can give it any name. For example, I already like made one called main copy. I can just write anything in here, it doesn't matter. Now, if I want to create an instance that has the same things as the main one, there's like an option here says custom image, and I'm gonna put the custom image that I made. Yeah, this is like what we did. Moving on to the manage, there's a cloud disk. This one only has one. The secondary one has two. The snapshots. Snapshots. I set these snapshots to take a snapshot every day, just in case if I want to roll back. It's like also a safety option. Like if anything bad happens, I can like always roll back to my old version. The second day one, actually it was the main one before, and if I move to snapshots, I can see like way too many snapshots. It doesn't need to be every day. For me, like I just set it to every day in order to prove it, but for example it can be every 1 week or every 1 month. This like mostly about the ECS. I'm gonna show the server load balancer that I made. I have a server load balancer, so let me go to the content load balancer. This is the IP address that connects two of the virtual machines together. And to prove it, I can open PuTTY, place this IP address. Let me log in. Also, the language is in Arabic. I'm sorry, let me just do it again since everything is messed up. Yeah, accept. Now log in as root. The password is this. Yeah, as like can be seen, I'm connected to my main cloud. There's nothing really on it. There's some default stuff. Now I want to prove that my load balancer is actually working and it's actually on. Let me just shut down this. I'm gonna stop my main one. Kill it. Yes. Now I want to take this, copy it, open body again. So let me just turn off this WhatsApp so it doesn't make any noises. Now I connect to it again and accept, login as root. The password is this. Right now I am in my second day one, so everything is fine. Actually, let me go through the load balancer since I am already in here. As can be seen, I have the listeners on board SSH, which is 22. I have the HTTP, which is in port 80, and I have the VNC server, which is in port 5901. It's like both of them say that they are in the up normal state because they are not actually set up. For the VNC server, I can just simply say VNC server and it will start for me. But for the HTTP, our website is only running on one instance right now. It's like running in here. In terms of, like I can like always add new ones. For example, if I want to port, like if I want to open the port 5,000, 6,000, 3,000, anything, I can just say it in here and do everything on it. Yeah, I believe this is everything in terms of the load balancer with the virtual machines. It's like connected to the default virtual private cloud. I can also associate an elastic IP address for this, but I don't believe that I need to. And yeah, moving on to the buckets. The next thing is going to be the buckets. Speaking about buckets, the main page, I don't believe like the main page has anything useful. Just like how to actually use the buckets, what the tools and etc., and how many storage you are actually using. Viewing our buckets, we have two. This is my main one, the one that I am working on. This is the files for our projects. For example, we have the Flask as our website and the file that we need along with it. I am connected to my secondary one by using my elastic IP address. Right now I'm not using the let me just close this so it doesn't annoy me. Right now I'm connecting to this elastic IP address. I'm not going through the load balancer. Okay, let me just connect to my image really quickly. Yes, okay, good. This is the file. I did copy them a few seconds ago, so let me just delete them in order to show how everything is working on. Delete this as well. Okay. Now, for example, if I want to copy, let's say, for example, if I want to copy the Flask project, right? So I can open this. There's like a command for it, which is the OSS utility 64. CP is for copy. You need to do -R in order to copy all of the files in the folder, since Flask is a folder. OSS / then the name of my bucket, which is Cloud Axle Bucket, and the name of my folder, which is Flask /. Right? Where do I want it to go? I want it to go to my desktop. Oh, sorry, desktop. I'll just make this a bit bigger. I don't know if actually saying Flask is gonna give me all of what is inside of Flask. Yeah, let's check. See how everything goes. Everything is working fine. Give me the time walk. Yeah, it took everything inside of the Flask. But just to prove like it is actually working. It did not take Flask, it took what is inside of Flask in here. Yeah, this is in terms of the buckets. There's nothing more to it, just like where you can store stuff, where like you can take things back. For example, this same command, if I write it in reverse, I can like copy things from the virtual machine to my bucket. There's nothing more to it. That's it. Okay, I would like to also mention that we have an auto scale option. Just in case like if an instance gets really overloaded, we have the in zone A and we have in zone B. If for example zone B is like really heavily loaded, it's gonna switch to zone A. But what if zone A gets really also heavily loaded? We don't have any extra option. So this is where the auto scale comes in. Right now the auto scaling is set up to 0 from 0 to 5 as the maximum that we can have. it's gonna like the most recent created instance is gonna copy it. I can switch this one to 1, right? And it's on to visual switches zone A and visual switches zone P. There's like nothing really important here. You just say okay and make this auto scale option. Now right now I set the minimum to be 1, or the sorry, not the minimum, the expected virtual machines set to 1. So it should create an 1 instance from itself. This procedure takes around 2 to 3 minutes. Yeah, it's starting right now. It's an auto-scaled instance. It's gonna copy it 32 from the zone A. There's like nothing to it. The same things, same specs, cloud disks, just basically a copy of it. So I just wanted to mention this as well, that we have an auto scale option, just in case if the secondary one also gets heavily loaded. Okay, in terms of the Apsara database, there's one thing I would like to mention. I don't know if it's only happening to me or happening to everyone else as well, but when I create an instance, it does not show up in here at all. In order to see it, for example, I can go to the dashboard and I can actually log on to it, but I don't see it. Like I can, for example, choose this. This is the actual instance that I have, and I can log into it. I have it, but it does not show up in here. So this is something that needs to be logged on, I believe. And like even if I go to the dashboard, I can see this instance 1 and instance 2. But yeah, why is it not showing in here? I don't know why. Anyway, moving on. This is the database that we have. The database works with this website. This is a trading website, as I have mentioned in the start of the video. The database is gonna save all of the currency, for example, the maximum trade of this day, maximum trade of the week, what is like happening, what's the average, and all of that into our SQL database. So I believe by this we did cover almost everything. I don't know why this one is stopping. Oh, this is the auto-scaled one from the previous. Okay. Yeah, I believe I covered everything from the VPC, from the ECS, from the cloud buckets, from the ASPA database. Also, like I made a new extra one as the auto-scale option. Let me have a vision. I have also made an elastic IP addresses. I have a load balancer as well. Yeah, I believe that I covered everything. And yes.